So how you been doing? How's farming going?
Oh man,
I need to be able to see the comments though too.
farming's going. Ain't much happening right now. My neighbors over here building their house, so a lot of dust being kicked up right now. But I mean, I'm getting corn. I got some squash, some beans. Got a lot of peppers. Got a shit ton of peppers.
Do you grow them Mad Hatters?
No, we got the seeds saved and we forgot to plant them.
Oh yeah.
I put them in a little paper envelope and put them up in the top cabinet above my spices. And then after the peppers started coming in, I said, "Man, where did some Mad Hatters at?" And Courtney said, "What Mad Hatters?" I said, "Those seeds I set back." She said, "Oh, I didn't plant those." I said, "Oh, okay."
Well, you need to save them because this year Curtis couldn't find any.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't find any to plant.
Well, they're up there.
So, anyways, yeah. We can go ahead and just go ahead and start talking about it, and people start coming in.
We need to do an audio check, make sure these mics are working. I've got an app on my phone. I don't know if they're.
I mean, hey, who's in here? Can y'all give us a sound check? Can you hear us good? Whoever's in the chat, can you hear us fine? Because we're about to start talking about some heavy shit. We just need to know if you can hear us.
All good. All right, awesome.
All right, cool. This is my buddy Roy.
Hey, everybody.
Hairston. He was in the Navy for 4 years, right?
6 years.
6 years. Yep. And how many deployments did you do?
Just the one.
Just one?
Yep.
And where did you go?
So I was on the USS Abraham Lincoln, which you guys might have heard about recently. Actually, an extremely similar kind of build up to what happened here. But we were in 2011, the end of 2011, we were getting on in San Diego, and we were supposed to just sail out of San Diego around the world to Norfolk, Virginia, because the reactors on the ships have a limited lifespan. It's a very long lifespan, but they have to be refueled every now and then. And we were at like a year overdue for them being refueled. We left in, I don't remember if it was November or December, but it was right around Christmas. My son had just been born when we got on the ship for workups in October and then ended up leaving. I'm pretty sure it was November or December, like late November, early December that we pulled out.
Okay. But how long was you supposed to be on deployment for?
The original deployment was slated to be only 4 months. So we were basically doing what we called a world tour. Everybody was kind of, the whole reason I went on that ship specifically, my command put me on there because because my son had just been born. So it was specifically supposed to be one of the shortest, easiest deployments in the fleet, pretty much. We were supposed to hit Australia, and then we were going to come up, I think maybe Thailand was always in the books, but it was supposed to be Australia, Thailand, skipped the Gulf entirely. This was during Operation Enduring Freedom. So we weren't even really gearing up to do any war fighting as far as that went. All we were doing in 7th Fleet, which is the Pacific Ocean, was some prep work. I was a 3923, which is a strike warfare intelligence analyst, basically putting precision coordinates on where we want a warhead to end up. I think AI is pretty much doing my job now. I don't know. I haven't been in since 2016, so I'm not sure.
So you was drawing up the plans for the pilots to drop bombs.
Yep.
Okay, that's what you did, was drawing up plans and coordinates for the pilots to drop bombs. And now, what years was you in this, and what year did you deploy?
So I went into the Navy in 2009. I did about a year of training in Dam Neck, Virginia, and then went on to Dam Neck. I say Dam Neck, it's Oceana, close to Norfolk, Virginia, Virginia Beach, Newport News area. Did about a year of training there, and then was stationed in the Fleet Intelligence Detachment, which is in Fallon, Nevada. If you've ever seen the Top Gun movies, when they buzz past the aircraft tower in the movie, I was literally, my office was just behind that tower on NAS Fallon in Fallon, Nevada. Did 3 years there. That's where I deployed from. So our whole job there was to sit and train because we were highly specialized and because we were in the intelligence detachment. Essentially, our whole job while we were on shore was to just get certified, train, practice, plan, and get ready. And then we routinely would ship out to ships to perform our function on the ship directly attached to the admiral. So instead of being like, your average sailor on board the U.S. Abraham Lincoln is either going to be stationed with the ship itself, meaning their ship's company. So you're the guys that, all the guys that work on the ship, the guys that are doing hull technician jobs, which is like working on the sewage systems or trash systems, the guys that are working down in the engine room, super hot, very hard job. They're attached to the ship. And then you've got people that come on the air wing, which are usually the people that work with pilots, aircraft, or aviation ordnancemen, people like that.
Was that you?
No. So it was actually a weird setup for us. We were actually attached to the admiral's staff. So you've got ship's company is what I would call one group. And they've got their own command structure, their own people they report to. You've got air wing, which fly in on the ship, and they run all the aircraft maintenance and stuff like that, and flight ops, which we worked with and worked for. But then there's also admiral staff, because you have an admiral that's in charge of not just the carrier, but the entire naval operation for that fleet. So you've got 5th Fleet, 7th Fleet. Those are really the only 2 operational fleets anybody worries about.
So which fleet was you in?
We were supposed to just be 7th Fleet. For operational stuff, it was supposed to just be 7th Fleet. That was all we were geared up for. That's your Pacific Ocean, South China Sea, North Korea, kind of keeping eyes on stuff like that. We were going to dip into 5th Fleet, obviously, because that's just, we had to get to get around the world. But we were just sailing through 5th Fleet. Like, it was really just nothing, no operational stuff there. And then you would hit, the other fleets as you went in. We were going to sail up through Egypt and then stop in Spain, hang out in Spain for a while, and then just sail straight across the Atlantic to Norfolk, Virginia, to the shipyards.
Okay. And was you just on the Lincoln, USS Abraham Lincoln?
I mean, I spent time on other ships, but the USS Abraham Lincoln was the only ship I would say I was attached to, that I deployed on, that I operationally worked on.
Okay. That was the only ship when you was deployed.
Yeah.
That you was on.
Yeah, I was on some other ships just for testing and systems work and stuff. But.
So you talked a little bit that you was in naval intelligence. Tell us a little bit about that, and what did you make on your ASVAB, and how did you get into intelligence?
Well, I originally wanted to go Special Forces. I wanted to go be a Navy SEAL, like typical whatever. My ASVAB score, I don't remember exactly. It was about an 89. I'm pretty sure.
Which is pretty high.
Yeah, pretty high 80s, low 90s, somewhere in there. That's been so long ago. I mean, that was 2009, so that was almost 20 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would say it was in the high 80s. My recruiter really wanted me to go nuclear engineer, which my brother-in-law actually currently is active duty nuclear machinist mate on a submarine. But like, terrible. Yeah, my recruiter wanted me to do that, and like basically badgered me into taking the test to go do that, and I've just purposely tanked that. But also, I probably wouldn't have passed it even if I wasn't trying to fail it, because that was a super math heavy exercise. But I wanted to go Special Forces, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah. I'm not the most physically fit person. I was much more fit back then, but it just wasn't. I realized as I was starting to actually get ready to go in that I was never gonna hack it, be able to do that. Kind of the same thing, me and you've talked about training, fighting, and like, yeah, I probably could and probably should, but also I just know myself, and it's I would rather just be lazy and get my ass kicked, I guess. I don't know, but no, I genuinely I just looked at it and decided not to even pursue the special warfare stuff, because I knew I wasn't going to be cut out for it. So I went to naval intelligence, kind of at MEPS, which is your entrance processing stuff. I was there, and I realized, okay, I don't want to go nuke. I don't want to go special forces anymore. So I've got to go to boot camp now. I've already signed the papers. Like, I'm here. What am I going to do when I get there? And I just asked them what was going on, what was something I would be a good fit for. And they recommended intelligence or cryptologic technician. And I don't really like working on computers that much. Crypto techs are your guys that are like deep into programming and stuff like that in the computers, and I wasn't really with that, so just kind of went intelligence by default. It was never really the plan. As a matter of fact, when I remember at MEPS, when I went to pull my ID out to give to him, I pulled out a wallet that was on a chain with an Anarchy A, like on the wallet. It's because I was still in my punk rock phase. I went into the Navy at 17 years old. My mom had to sign the papers for me to be able to go in.
All right. So after boot camp, where did you go and what did you have to do?
Well, immediately after boot camp, I got on a plane in Chicago in my dress blues, looking like super nice. And I'm sure they're used to it at O'Hare Airport because Navy boot camp's in Chicago. So they saw me in my dress blues and my one singular little ribbon for pistol qualifications or whatever. And they bumped me up to first class to fly to Virginia Beach. And they put me in first class right behind this dude with this like nice suit. I don't know. I was too young then to pay much attention to it, but I would bet it's probably $500-600 like really nice suit that he's wearing. And I noticed that and thought, man, that's really cool. I hope I can afford a really nice suit like that one day. Then the plane takes off and I immediately get motion sick and I like lean forward and puke all over this dude in this $500 suit in first class.
Oh my God.
And like we're on like a 3-hour flight, I think it was. And this was like moment 5 of that flight.
Oh, shit.
So he's just stuck wearing a vomit suit the whole flight. And I'm stuck sitting there.
What did he do?
To his credit, he had almost no reaction. Like, I think he just, I remember him looking down, and I was about to die from embarrassment anyway. So I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention. But I just saw him like look down like this and go, well, fuck. And then just turn around and keep looking forward and just stay silent. And the airline hostess,
stoic.
Yeah, the airline
stoic.
hostess came over to me. She's like, "Oh my God, here, let me help you, honey," and like gave me a paper bag. And I just remember looking at the paper bag like, "I'm done now." Like, what?
Yeah, I already got it all over this Armani suit.
She didn't even offer to help him clean himself up or nothing either. God. He got up and went to the bathroom, kind of scraped it off and stuff. But yeah, that was the start of my 3-hour flight into the Navy. My first steps as a U.S. Navy sailor was to vomit all over some rich guy. But yeah, so I went to Virginia. To answer your question, I went to Virginia Beach for the first time as a trainee for intelligence. And at this point, I didn't know I was going to be a 3923. So the way that training works, you get there, you go through.
What is a 3923 for people who don't know?
So that's just the code for Strike Warfare Intelligence Specialist.
And that's what you was, Strike Warfare Intelligence Specialist. Okay.
Yeah. You've also got 3910s, 3912s. I had another brush with Special Forces during that time and actually got to do some Special Forces training. I want to be very clear that like in no way was I actually a Special Forces anything. I just got to do some training with them, which was cool. I keep the certificate.
Yeah, so no stolen valor here.
Yeah, not trying to claim anything I didn't earn here. I did earn that certificate though, so I'm going to say that. But yeah, it was just like the intelligence specialist. Here's how you support a special warfare unit if you get attached to one. So that was cool. At the time I was engaged and actually snuck off base to get married. That's probably a story for another time because we got important stuff to talk about here. But yeah, I had to sneak off base and get married. The military didn't recognize my marriage until I graduated A school, which was hard. But yeah, so while I was doing that, I went through, there's a version of intelligence specialists called Ground. We just call them Ground. But they are the guys, like that certificate that I got, they are the guys that kind of go and really do that shit. Like, not the way that I trained to do it, but like actually as their full-time job, go with, we call them human intelligence assets. So they go with people on the ground, like boots on the ground kind of stuff. I wanted to go with them. I was qualified to go with them. I did a whole interview with them. And at the end, I'll never forget, the dude like looked at me and he was like, what's your plans with like relationships and stuff? And I told him like, well, I'm already married. He said, man, if you've got a wife, like our divorce rate is like 90% in this line of work. Like you don't want to do this. And if you want to stay married, if you really love her, you really don't want to do this. And there were lots of reasons, but I don't want to go into those because I don't know what I can and can't. But just in general, it wasn't a great idea. And I did, once again, back out of doing anything Special Forces with that group because of that reason. Like I wanted to, at that point, I wanted to maintain my family, and I'm glad I did, because here I am, almost 20 years later with a wife and 2 kids that I'm happy being with.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive into it. We talked about your qualifications and what you did briefly, and we can do more lives to go more in depth. But what we're here for is the USS Abraham Lincoln. And what I do want to know, and I want other people to know, is what did you experience on your deployment? And I don't know nothing about what's going on. You sent me that post, and
Right.
I just looked at that post. That's all I know, and I kind of want to keep it that way so other people can know where you're coming from.
Right.
So you go ahead and take us there to your experience,
Right.
your perspective first.
So before I start saying anything, for everybody watching, I want you guys to know I am not currently in the Navy. I have not had access to any information inside the Navy since 2016. I am not here to spread any propaganda. I know there have been a lot of things said that maybe Iran is saying some things as propaganda, and that's entirely possible. Probably even happening. Like, I'm not going to say, I'm definitely not saying that that's not happening, and I'm also saying it probably is, because we're at war with them, and propaganda is a thing you do.
Yeah.
So there's a non-zero chance that some of what you're seeing and hearing about the USS Abraham Lincoln right now is propaganda. I'm not here to spread propaganda. I don't buy into that. And I love America. Let's get that out on the front end here. But what I can tell you for 100% fact is what happened to me on my deployment, which happened to be very similar to what's happening to them right now, or at least what we're hearing is happening to them. And with just base facts, I can tell you probably is 100% true. That's all I can tell you is what I think is 100% true based on my past experience. So nobody take this as me saying I know exactly what's happening on the Lincoln right now. I'm just saying I know what's probably happening on the Lincoln right now based on what happened back then. So that out of the way, to answer your question, again, originally in 2011, the Lincoln was running out of fuel, essentially. Like we were getting to the point, there are nuclear reactors on these ships that have to be serviced at a certain time, and they will start shutting down eventually. Like, it's just like running out of gas in your truck, but the time frame is, decades instead of miles. So we were 1 year past that decade mark of where they needed to be. And the ship was it was holding together. When we first got on it, everything was working fine. Everything was going smooth. The ship's company guys, who were originally based in Washington, the ship was based in Washington, had sailed down to San Diego. We flew out from Fallon, got on the ship in San Diego, and then pulled off the pier in San Diego, which, by the way, I'll never forget that. The whole thing I'm trying to do here is put the audience in the sailor's mind. So I'm going to focus a lot on what was happening in my head. If anybody out there has any questions or wants to know something specific or logistical, throw it in here. Tyler's watching the comments. He'll interrupt me. And
I can't really see them.
Okay. Well, I'll kind of glance over every now and then.
All right, but go ahead, Roy. Oh, y'all like and share their live too, if y'all don't mind. But yeah, go ahead. Keep finishing your story.
All right. So we pulled out of San Diego, and I am 20. I think I was 19. I was 20 when we pulled out, because I spent my 21st birthday on deployment. So I was 20 years old. I had been married. My first child had just been born. And I remember standing in San Diego, not knowing what was about to happen, because you don't. When you're in boot camp, they put you through like a simulation, because you know how you ever heard the saying, every Marine's a rifleman? Well, the same thing's true with sailors, but it's firemen. Every sailor is a fireman. Like when you're going through boot camp, they put you through a big production simulation of like what it's like to fight a fire on board a ship, what it's like to deal with a missile strike, whatever. Just all the different damage control stuff. You go through that. And so like that's my only experience with seeing the inside of a ship, is that boot camp preparatory where literally the ship's on fire and everything's going wrong. And I'm standing here like about to get on this giant floating city. And it really is a giant floating city. Like the day that I checked in, you go up on the quarterdeck, you salute in, permission, Seaman Apprentice, Hairston, requesting permission to come aboard, which is the way that you salute on. been a long time since I've thought about that. But you get in, and then you're in this giant indoor hangar bay area.
Where did you work at? On the carrier, and this is a carrier.
Yeah, it was a carrier. I can't say where I worked at because that's...
Was it up top, though?
Yeah, it was in the... I call it... sailor. Most, if any sailors are watching, I worked in a blue tile area. So there are... The military in general is very feudalistic. So you've got like knights and nobility that are people.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got like peasants and servants that are like your lower classes.
Was you a peasant?
I was a peasant, but I got to work in the castle. So I was like, I was a house peasant.
Okay, yeah. I was a house peasant.
Yeah,
okay,
I
get that.
I was trained to...
I like that. I like that description.
Yeah. So paid and treated like a peasant, but expected to work and with the pressure of a knight. Yeah. But yeah, so we... Location specifically on the ship, I'm not gonna say that because it's an intelligence thing, and I don't want to put any information I'm not legally supposed to out there. But so I get on the ship, and you're in this giant hangar bay area, and I have no idea where to go because it really is. It's like a rat maze. Like the way that the ship works, there's two sides, and technically you're supposed to go one direction down the ship on one side and one direction up the ship on the other side, so traffic doesn't get jammed up because it's just hallways. Like it's like a hallway that's about this wide that goes on either side, up and down. Once you get to the lower decks, I think you can kind of go in between a little more, but up where we were, it was either side. So I don't know where to go. A dude has to take me and show me where my room is. And my berthing was on the O3. So O is for above decks, like officer decks. And then your below decks is just deck, whatever. I was on O3. Right above the trash compactor, so there's an incinerator that's burning trash below me, and right below where the jets are like landing on the deck, a little off to the side, obviously, but like you can hear the catapult when it's catching jets as they land. You can hear those giant hydraulic catapults catching and pulling that cord back. You got a fucking garbage burner right below you. It's great.
They're great. Loud too.
Yeah. And again, this goes to set where these sailors' heads are. This is not on some terrible thing yet. We're just in dock in San Diego, and I'm realizing, okay, my new reality is I'm sleeping in a room with 30 guys. Luckily, at this point during the deployment, that room is air conditioned. So I'm sleeping in a room with 30 guys that kind of smells like gym shorts right now. Before we even left, it already kind of smells bad. And there's 30 dudes. I mean, just sleeping in a room. Imagine sleeping in a room with 30 guys consistently for however long you're going to be on there. With trash burning below you and jets taking off and landing above you, it's already kind of a maddening, like, this is a weird situation. But hey, I signed up to serve. This is serving, right? That's what every sailor goes through. I had it pretty good. Mm-hmm. Being in intelligence, being on the officer decks, having AC in most of the places I was in, I had it pretty dang good. There were a lot of like machinist mates and hull technicians and cooks and people that worked below decks, especially the engine room, dude. I don't know how they do that. I had to go down to an engine room to get some qualifications. We're in Alabama. That's going to happen. But anyway, had to go down to the engine decks a couple times, and they're working in like 100+ degree heat constantly with a giant nuclear reactor that they're maintaining. Like it's insane. I would go insane a week into that, much less 4 months, which is where we're at right now. 4 months is what everybody thinks is happening. So yeah, just getting on the ship was kind of crazy. And then we pulled out of San Diego, and like I said, we're sailing in 7th Fleet. And I'd already done workup, so I was already kind of familiar with like being underway and stuff. That's actually the best part of being on a ship, especially a carrier. It's so big, but you're still on the ocean, so it like rocks. So when you lay in your rack at night, it feels like you're on a hammock. If you've got the rack facing the right way, you can get it facing the other way, and it feels like you're just going like
that'd be terrible.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would be terrible.
I got a hammock rack for the most part, so that was nice.
Rockabye baby.
Yeah, it was great. I slept really good in 7th Fleet while we were out there. Yeah. When it was a 4-month deployment and we were in 7th Fleet, I was sleeping great.
Yeah. Let's see. But y'all like and share the live if y'all don't mind. This is a good story right here.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we?
The hammock, Rockabye baby.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Pick up from there.
So yeah, we're pulling out of San Diego, going into 7th Fleet, and it's chill, it's easy. I'm having a great time. I mean, obviously it's not great time, but as far as what would come next, this was the best time of my life. Um, it's a little hard messaging my wife. Again, I had it a lot easier than a lot of people. There are a lot of sailors that get to message their family maybe once a month, especially AOs, people that are working in shops that don't have computers in them generally, or they have like one unclassed computer that they can access at any given time. I was lucky because, again, being in intelligence, I had access to computers 24/7. I could go up to my shop anytime I wanted to and send a message to my wife, check on my son, all that. Still a little difficult from my side, but not nearly as difficult as some of the guys on the ship had it, for sure. And it's an adaptation. The only way to communicate with my wife and newborn child is through a Microsoft Outlook email account. At that time, I don't know what it's like now. They may have video calls and stuff. We could, but the Red Cross had to get involved for us to be able to do a video call most of the time. Mm-hmm. Or the admiral or somebody like that had to just come down and be like, "Hey, we're doing this as like a promotional thing. Like you get these things done, and we'll get you a video call." So I never did that. I was fine with just emailing. I felt so fortunate being in an air-conditioned room with a computer right there. I was never pursuing anything extra. I was just hoping no one noticed. Hey, this peasant's having a good time. Let's just be quiet and let everybody leave me alone.
Let's take away his privileges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So life on the ship, just a quick, this is your base life on a ship. This is when things are good. Your food, when you first pull out, or when you just got done doing what's called a replenishment at sea, which is where you take more food on. So the food's fresh, right? When the food is fresh, it's fine. It's actually pretty good compared to what the Army eats, what Marines are eating when they're out in the field. The food is great for military standards when you first pull out. By civilian standards, it's like the best prison food you're going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like prison food, but it's better than eating an MRE any day. It's not going to give you constipation. More likely, it'll give you diarrhea, but it's not going to stop you up for like 3 weeks like the Army ends up getting with MREs. So that's nice. Your typical mood on board is probably a little salty. It's always a little salty because you're around a bunch of sailors, but it's not. No one's angry yet. No one's stabbing you in a fucking P-way in the middle of the night yet. You've got the galley where the free food that they fix for you. I say free, but it's like saying free health care. Like it comes out of your paycheck, but you don't notice it, so it's free. But you've got the galley that's fixing that, and then you've also got what's called a ship store. And back then, they used to give us these little credit cards that you go down and spend it, and it's linked to your bank account, and it just automatically withdraws from your bank account or whatever. Or you could do the prepay version. Anyway, a ship store has Monster energy drinks, cigarettes. It's like a little gas station just down in the ship. That's fully stocked, so everybody's happy. All your nicotine addicts are stocking up on cigarettes. They're fine. No one's freaking out. It's chill. It sucks. We're all away from our family. We're all on this boat having to do these boat things, which is 1 hour a day. Everybody on the ship has to clean. You're sleeping in a berthing with 30 people. Some of them are on day shift. Some of them are on night shift. People go to work or go work out at the gym during their shift. And in order to go work out, they have to come down to the berthing and open their coffin rack. So you sleep on top of all your stuff, and it folds up, and you get your stuff out, and then you shut it. And these are metal bunks. So every time someone comes, the dude that slept right above me worked out during his shift on day shift, and I was on night shift, and he would come in and slam that motherfucker shut. I was the best man at his wedding. I love him. But he would slam that motherfucker shut every day, halfway through my sleep cycle, and wake me up. These are first world problems, by the way. I don't want anyone that's watching to think I'm oh, poor pitiful me. This was These are the good times. This is what was happening when things were just fine. So yeah, that's some basic life on the ship stuff. For most people, to get on an unclassed computer, you would go to, we had the library, or we had a Starbucks on the ship.
Oh, really?
So yeah, when we first pulled out, you could run to, it was called Jittery Abe's, but it was a full branded Starbucks and everything. You could go down there and get a little white caramel macchiato or whatever and sit there and drink that, which as intelligence people, of course, that was, coffee runs were a routine thing. Again, first world peasant problems, because there were a lot of people on the ship that never got to go get coffee, or if they did, they were suffering for it. But
yeah,
but yeah, so that's the first I'd say 2 or 3, probably first 2 months.
And y'all was supposed to be on deployment for 4 months.
Yeah. So
and did y'all have supplies just for 4 months, or was y'all supplied for longer?
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this. I was not in logistics. I don't know for a fact. This is just what I'm pretty sure about, is that we were supplied for 6 months, just in case. Like we were supplied. Your typical deployment is about 6 months. So we were supplied like a regular deployment. The first sign of trouble was when we didn't go to Australia, because it was supposed to be like 3 weeks and then hit Australia for 4 days and then 2 or 3 more weeks and go up to Thailand or wherever the next port was supposed to be.
And you're just sailing around the world, just easy peasy.
Yep.
Right? That's what it was supposed to do.
We're not actually flying. So the Air Wing, I was talking about ship's company, Air Wing, and Admiral staff. Ship's company always have it hard. They're what do you say, running the suck?
Yeah,
they are constantly
running that suck.
They are constantly running the suck. Ship's company always have it bad. It doesn't matter if the ship's underway or not. Those motherfuckers are working their ass off. Mad respect for them, but yeah, I'm sure that they were having a bad time. They're always having a bad time.
Yeah.
Air Wing probably had it the easiest out of anybody because we weren't flying any real missions. Like they were taking off the deck to like keep their hours up, but they weren't going in country anywhere. They weren't planning to be in country anywhere. They were just maintaining quals pretty much. So they were on vacation for all intents and purposes. And then us Admiral staff people were a little more stressed out just because we have to stay operationally ready at the drop of a hat if something kicks off. And the Air Wing, same way, but more so with planning and things like that. We have to be planning constantly just in case something happens or changes. So light workload, fairly well supplied. The only thing that was kind of like ding, 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 there might be a problem is we don't go to Australia. And we were like, okay, well, that's weird because Australia, I don't know if you knew this, but Australia is like a sailor's paradise. At least that's what I've heard. I've never been to port in Australia as a sailor, but all of the more experienced guys were pumped that we were going to Australia, telling stories about how there's like people that will stand out at the dock, like women that'll stand out at the pier and stuff, and you write your number in a Dixie cap and throw it overboard, and they catch it and call you, and y'all meet up and do stuff when you're out there.
Yeah.
And these
go get a Pepsi and a movie.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah, you go enjoy a nice bowl of popcorn.
Yeah, a nice bowl of popcorn.
But so we missed that, and there's a couple of red flags there, and we thought at the time maybe North Korea was getting ready to kick some shit off. Like that's my personal thought. That's not the United States government. That's not any.
And you're not knowing any of this. Y'all are speculating.
Yeah.
Y'all are guessing.
Yeah, we're just dude. And I'm telling you, like, you want to hear gossip. They're the two best places in the world to hear gossip are an Alabama beauty shop or the smoke deck on the USS Abraham Lincoln during that entire deployment. Because nobody knows shit. I'm pretty sure our leadership didn't even know what was happening. But we were on the smoke deck, and the smoke deck, by the way, have you ever seen a carrier, like a picture?
Yeah,
of a carrier?
yeah, I've seen it up close.
Have you ever?
Norfolk.
So did you see? There's like sections of the hull up near the deck, but not quite up on top of the deck. There's sections that are kind of cut out with these big receiving valves.
I probably have. Yeah.
So aircraft run on a certain type of fuel called JP5, Jet Propellant 5 fuel. They have these giant intakes on the side of the ship, and it's got a little deck to walk around and work on it. They put our smoke deck, the place where 5,000 sailors go and light up cigarettes and smoke them. Well, not quite 5,000 because you got about 5,000 people on this giant metal floating city.
That's how many that's on this carrier. It's about
5 to 7,000. I would say 5 to 7,000. I don't know the exact makeup, and if I did, I wouldn't say it because that would be loose slips, sink ships kind of stuff. But just as a rough estimate, about 5,000 people on this big metal floating city. You've got all of the lower enlisted. So the chiefs have their own place to smoke, and the officers get their own, like, I'm sure it's like a luxurious cigar bar with leather chairs. We got to walk around that JP5 intake valve and stand right next to it and smoke with about 600-700 people at a time. So you're standing there smoking cigarettes, and everybody there is just like hyped up on Monster Energy, pissed off from working all day on this ship, hot as fuck because you're standing out exposed to the elements. At that time, we were actually cold as fuck because it was wintertime in the Pacific. So cold as fuck, standing there bitching, just smoking cigarettes and starting rumors. And so the rumor at the time running around the boat was North Korea was getting ready to kick something off. We were going to have to stay there and kick their ass or whatever. So that's what we thought might be happening when we missed Australia. Then we hit Thailand. super fun port. And when we're talking about a lighter subject, I would love to talk about the stuff that went on in Thailand. But Thailand was extremely fun. My first time out of the country, mind blowing how free those people are. Like they have a king, and at the beginning of their movie, they have to stand up and salute their king.
We'll talk about that.
Anyway, yeah, that was super fun. And at this point, I'm coming back on the ship. Like this is a vacation. Like this is awesome. I spent 3 weeks kind of working, and now I'm on this cool foreign country, and we're going to do that again. And I'm whatever. Next 3 weeks, I am pumped. Whatever. I'll do whatever job they want me to. I'm happy. I'm messaging Courtney like how cool it was, and how awesome this is, and how I'm going to take her to Thailand when we get home. Yeah, which she wouldn't like. But anyway, we sail out of that and go to the Indian Ocean, and we do the shellback ceremony, which is crossing the equator on a ship, and it's like this whole ritual thing. It's another thing. Be good to talk about some other time. Shellback ceremony is fun. The admiral actually went through the shellback ceremony as a WOG with me, so he's like doing the ritual stuff, being kind of humiliated with us, which was really cool to see. Love Admiral Shoemaker. And then we get up into Fifth Fleet, and we weren't supposed to stop in the Gulf at all. But if y'all remember, and you can watch this on YouTube, I was actually on international news with my laptop there on the flag bridge of the USS Abraham Lincoln as Iran announced, we're mining the Straits of Hormuz. And of course, being America, like the Enterprise, I'm pretty sure it just came out of the Gulf. And being the United States of America, we can't not have a presence in the Gulf.
So they was doing this while you was on deployment?
Yeah.
That was mining the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, they said they were mining the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, okay.
So what they said back in 2011 was we're mining the Strait of Hormuz and denying all further carrier access to the Gulf. And that's just how it's going to be. Now, again, this is during Operation Enduring Freedom, so we can't not have a warfighting platform in the area. The whole point of our Navy is projection of power, and not being able to go into the biggest place we need to project power would never work. So our strike group just had to sail up into the Gulf. Like we were going past, and then they said that as we were coming past, and we just had to sail up into it. So it was never really planned for us to be there. We were not supplied to be there. We were not intending to be there.
So you've been to the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I've been in and out that motherfucker.
How is that? All right, go ahead and I want to know what it's like being in the Strait of Hormuz. Is it big?
I mean, yeah, it's. I don't know how to describe it. So have you seen the clip?
Yeah, I've seen clips. And
so
stuff.
For me, my experience of the Strait of Hormuz was one of the most stressful moments in my life because in the intel shop, we were seeing all the reports. Oh, they're going to mine it. We're going to have to go through. We're going to have to do all of this. I'm just, again, my job, 3923, I am trained to sit at a computer and plan out strike missions. Here's where the bomb goes with very specific, intelligence work to go behind that, and a lot of stuff you have to know to do it, but that's really what it boils down to. I am the meathead of the intelligence world of just this is what we're doing. There's very little cognitive thinking past how to get in, how to get out, how to achieve what we want to achieve. But somebody comes down and says, hey, Admiral Shoemaker is asking for Petty Officer Hairston and Petty Officer Heck. By name. The Admiral of the strike group is asking for us by name. And I'm like, I don't know this guy. Why does he know me? What are we doing? I don't know what the thought process was, but when me and Heck get up to the flag bridge, and you got to think from where we were working, it's about 10 flights of stairs to get up to the flag bridge. So you've got the bridge that the captain of the ship stands on and makes all the shipboard decisions from. And then right below that, you've got the admiral of the ship who is making decisions for the entire strike group, the war that's happening around all the ships. And I'm standing next to, the next lowest ranked person was a commander, which is an 04, 05. That's the next lowest ranked person to me, who is an E4. So there is a gulf. Every man in the room with us could just ruin my entire fucking career if I say or do the wrong thing. We're not technically supposed to be allowed there. But again, the admiral put us there. And I won't go into exactly what our job was there because some of that's not for me to talk about here. But we stood there for 12 hours as we transit the strait.
A former sailor. Oh, that's just the AI summary.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
So we're standing there doing our job. standing up for 12 hours, surrounded by an admiral, a full bird captain, and like a whole gaggle of commanders, with to boil it down and put it the most simple I can, the weight of the world on our E4 shoulders. Like we're there to be the direct intelligence support to the admiral as we're sailing through. As we're going through, we see Iranian planes flying over. We had small boats, and that's what you see if you look up, if you go on YouTube, if you're interested and want to look it up, you can go to YouTube and put in USS Abraham Lincoln transits the Straits of Hormuz. There's a BBC clip with like a dude wearing a flight jersey and earphones, and he's talking about everything that's happening. You can see clips of these small boats that are like coming up to the ship and paralleling course with us and turning, and they've got like rocket tubes on the top, or what looks like rocket tubes on the top, and we're just making literal split-second recommendations about what to do about it. Like, is this a threat or not? What's going on? So extremely stressful for me. But if I remove myself from like that experience and just put myself as a normal sailor looking out, and you would have a lot of sailors that would go up on decks or go out to the smoke pit, like I saw that JP5 thing, and like look and watch. There's a ton of like fishing boats and just cool shit to look at. Like, I mean, it's the first time the whole underway, other than pulling into port, that you can actually see things that aren't just the vast open ocean.
Oh yeah, you got it on both sides. You can see on both sides.
A little bit, yeah. We were kind of closer to the Iranian side than we were the Emirate side, but yeah, I mean you can see just other vessels when you're out in the middle of the ocean doing like patrols and stuff. You literally see nothing. You go out there and look, and it is nothing but water forever. And so like the stimulation of being able to see other things on the water is cool.
So how important is the Strait of Hormuz?
It's the most important. I would say next to this, I would say,
oh shit. Disconnect from what the fuck? Live to the boat. Oh, I don't know what the hell that was. But anyways, y'all like and show the live, but go ahead. I don't know what the hell that was.
So I would say it's the most important strait in the world.
In the world.
Arguable because you've got the I'm so glad I can't remember all the names of these places. The one that goes up through Egypt. What is the name? I went through that one too.
Not the Bering Strait. But,
no.
Anyways.
Yeah, anyway. So between those two, probably the two most important straits in the world. And with the Strait of Hormuz, we're seeing now why. Like that motherfucker closes down, and you've got nothing. You've got no oil coming in and out. You've got no petroleum products being produced. You've got entire world economy shutting down. And yeah, okay, we've got strategic reserves, but there's a reason they call them strategic reserves. Like you don't go into your strategic reserve of whiskey to have a night out with your buddies. You go into your strategic reserve of whiskey because your ex-wife leaves you, right? So like what's happened is the ex-wife of the world has left, and we're almost out of whiskey. There ain't nowhere to go.
That's what that is.
Yeah, there ain't nowhere to go to get more whiskey except your ex-wife's house, and you're going to shoot your way in. So that's where that's the strategic value
I love that description
of this strait. And yeah, we couldn't. We were. I think the strategy. I wasn't privy to everything that was happening strategically, but I think the strategy really was to park us in the Gulf and then let them mine the straits and be like, okay, well, we live here now. Because what's happening right now is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if they're in the Gulf or out of it. I haven't been watching closely because it kind of bugs me to know too much about it. But what's happening right now is these sailors went out thinking their deployment was going to be a certain length, thinking, we're all told publicly this war is going to be 2 weeks. And they probably went out there thinking, at least some of them believing, that this war was going to be a month, 2 months max. But they've currently been out there 9 months.
On the Lincoln or the whole fleet? On
the Lincoln. Well, all the ships that are in its strike group, I'm sure. But that brings me back to my story. So we get the news, we have to sail up into the strait to keep them from mining it. But at the time, we're told it's a 2-week extension. Like they come out and they said, hey, USS Abraham Lincoln, this is Rear Admiral Shoemaker. I'm just here to let you guys know we've been extended by 2 weeks. We have to go and do some operational stuff here, support Operation Enduring Freedom. But we'll be there. We're going to hit port in Dubai. It's going to be awesome. And again, this is my second port. We hit port in Dubai, one of the most wealthy countries in the world, one of the most wealthy cities in the world. Beautiful city.
Did you say the Burj Khalifa?
Oh yeah, I was right up under that thing. I've got
huge, ain't it?
I've got a video of the water fountain display that they put out there, and it's like the size of DeKalb County. Not really, I'm exaggerating, but it's a massive water fountain that's like playing music and doing all this cool lights and stuff. Absolutely love Dubai. I was over the moon. You know, again, it's vacation. I went to the Taste of Dubai, which is like Gordon Ramsay and all these elite chefs from all around the world cooking food and putting it out. Now, at this point, we're probably the 3rd month into deployment. People are starting to get kind of burned out and tired because, again, for me, even having it really good. Somebody going by taking pictures of my property here.
Who was that?
I had no idea. Anyway, maybe he's looking at the property down there. I don't know. Anyway, getting distracted. So my shift load as an intelligence, as one of the guys that has it easy, my shift load is 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Granted, during that 12 hours, I take like an hour off to go to the gym and I get an hour to eat. But it's a 12-hour shift, 7 days a week until we hit port. And we're in port for 4 days. I have to work one of those days for duty. So it's 3 days off every 2 months about. And we're on month 3. We just got our 2nd port visit. So things are really good. We're getting more port visits than normal because of this. Whatever, everybody's fine. It's 2 weeks. Who cares? At the end of that 2 weeks, though, we get steak and lobster for dinner. And I'm sure y'all have seen, this is what the other propaganda, so there's propaganda from Iran, but there is also propaganda from the government. The propaganda from the government will be like, oh, no, they're eating great. And they show pictures of the steak and lobster.
Just for one time.
You get that when they come on and tell you, all right, hey, Abraham Lincoln, this is Rear Admiral Shoemaker. Just going to let you know, we got extended by another 2 weeks. We're just going to do a little bit more support Operation Enduring Freedom, then we'll be out. So that happens, and now it's a month-long extension. We just went from 4 months to 5 months. Fine. Mood's a little sour now because we're like, okay, well, fuck this. We don't want to be doing this. Iran never actually mined the strait, so we're just sailing in and out. We keep going back and forth. So we'll go in, hit port, sail a bit, go out, sail in big circles in the Indian Ocean, flying actual combat missions and stuff. And now we're doing real shit. And again, I'm not going to get into what exactly my job was.
Bombs are getting dropped.
Yeah.
Bombs are getting
We're
dropped.
doing things now.
Yeah.
We are in a war now.
Yeah.
I'm not paying taxes anymore, and I'm getting combat zone tax pay. We are in a war. And that goes. So that's shitty by itself. Being in the mission planning and stuff like that and seeing everything that's happening gets real shitty real quick. I would say at this point, that's where the real world hit me. Like up until then, I was on vacation and this was fun, and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm in the military and this is a war. Like this is not. There's no bullshit about this. And I think that happened to a lot of the first time deployment sailors, just across the board, because the mood went from one thing one day to just, oh, we're really doing this the next day. Some of the old school sailors already knew. As soon as they heard that we were going through the straits, they had already buckled down and like, okay, this is not fun anymore. We're doing this for real. So, okay, we're 2 extensions in. That continues to happen every 2 weeks. Like every other Friday, we're eating steak and lobster and hearing the announcement, we've been extended by 2 weeks. And the mood it went from everything's kind of fine, it's a little shitty, to, okay, this kind of sucks, to mentally unstable. We went from a 4-month deployment to a 9-month deployment, 2 weeks at a time in this way. And by the last one, and again, we were hitting port. I think the longest we went was like 70 days without a port visit, which entitled us to what they call a still beach picnic. What is this guy doing? I'm going to keep talking, but let's keep an eye on that. Anyway.
Yeah,
it entitles us to what's called a still beach picnic, which is essentially getting a beer and a couple of steaks grilled for you. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm going to take a second here while we're watching what's happening over there. Any questions so far? Have we missed any comments that we need to see? What's up, everybody? So, anyway, still beach picnic is basically you go up on the deck of the ship. Everybody takes a day off of work, and you park all the planes down in the hangar bay. They bring out a bunch of grills, and they grill the shitty, not fit for human consumption meat that we have, and they give you 2 non-alcoholic beers, and you get to drink non-alcoholic beers on the flight deck.
Is the guy in the black shirt named Lathan? No, the guy in the black shirt is named Tyler. Beer and a steak dinner sounds pretty good. Right.
I'd actually have one of those later.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah, so we're mid-deployment. We haven't seen port in like 60, 70 days, and it's starting to get, like, you're starting to get a lot of fights. So let me back up a little bit. As the mood starts to go down, you start to notice it stops feeling like a vacation and starts feeling more and more like prison. And I noticed, the moment I really noticed it was we were doing a replenishment, which I won't get too much into the logistics of, but one ship pulls up next to your ship, y'all connect, and then use zip lines to transfer stuff over, and then you unload pallets. And sailors are like ants when it comes to doing these big ship things. Like, you just form a line, and so no one's really moving that much. You're just kind of
assembly line.
Yeah.
Human assembly line.
My part of the assembly line was right down next to the cooler as all of the food was being passed down, and I'm taking boxes and handing it off to the next guy. And I remember seeing a thing of meat, and it literally said on there, not fit for human consumption, grade F, USDA, whatever. And we pass that along, it goes in the cooler. And then, like, I go the rest of the deployment thinking about that. But those replenishments at sea, because of the logistics not being preset, and because this being kind of a surprise thing, we stopped getting as many as we should have, and the supplies started to dwindle. And this is an easier deployment than what these Lincoln sailors currently are going through. We got supplied more often than they currently are. But in our deployment...
So they're not getting supplied often?
Again, I can't speak to exactly what's happening right now. I just know from reports that they aren't being supplied very often at all.
And where are you getting these reports at?
Just news articles and families. Like Stars and Stripes is a good military news organization that reports on the fleet constantly and fairly accurately. And then you've also got Navy Times and just outlets that actually work with the military and have information from military sources rather than whatever. And also, Stars and Stripes and Navy Times are really good about taking letters from family members that have emails directly from their spouses on the ship and running those letters without any kind of political bent to it. Because Lord knows any mainstream media source is going to have a political angle to all of it. But just the reality, even if you don't have any information and you have no sources, look at what's happening over there and think about the logistics of getting a supply ship to the carrier. You've got to sail into the war zone. You've got to have the supplies ready to go, get them onto the ship and get out of it, right? Or the ship has to leave the war zone, which I don't think they can currently. If they're blockading, it's not like they can go in and out and be leaving things the way they are. So just logically, they probably aren't being supplied as often as we were then because we weren't bound to blockade anything. We were just going in and out. But in our case, what I can say with 100% fact is that in our case, those things already were slowing down back then. And when they slow down, it's fine for like the first few weeks when the food's fresh. But eventually you start getting to the bottom of your supplies and the food stops being like a full plate of food that's balanced and nutritionally healthy and starts just being like, we called them rabbits, which is chicken cordon bleu. The chicken cordon bleu in the early days is like a full on, I don't know if you ever had that, like you pound out chicken, roll up some ham and cheese. It's like the full thing. By the time that we were getting in between RASs, which replenishment at sea, that chicken cordon bleu just starts being like the toughest piece of chicken. And it's just like a chicken tender wrapped in some breadcrumbs.
Jerky.
And really, it's just, we called it a hamster because it feels like you just fucking deep fried a hamster in breadcrumbs and you're eating that. Yeah. We would get pita bread more than regular bread. And that pita bread is so hard you could literally like fight somebody with it. I'm pretty sure you could sharpen that motherfucker and like cut somebody.
Yeah, and break a window with
Dude, I'm telling you, the pita bread gets stale and hard, and it gets to the point where you're relying on the ship store and care packages. Mm-hmm. So if y'all have been watching and seeing what the USO and VFW and people like that are doing right now, they're doing these big drives of like, let's send care packages to the sailors, and that's awesome. Because that is, I fell back on protein powder. Like I had Courtney sending me big jugs of protein powder, and that's what I was surviving off of for the longest. But those care packages have to get delivered by the replenishment at sea. So you are also on a time limit there with maybe you got a care package, and if you were smart about it, you didn't tell anybody you had it. Because again, it starts getting like prison, where you got some protein powder. I know you got it in your care package. Let me get some of that protein powder, man. And yeah, of course, in the civilian world, it's real easy to be like, no, fuck you, go get your own. But in that world, that dude asking you for protein powder is someone you might rely on to get you something. Or maybe it's just someone that's going to kick your ass in the P-way if you don't give them what you want. And like, the worse the mood got, the more violent people would get. Because the ship stores starts running out of supplies too. So all your nicotine addicts, myself included, run out of cigarettes. Well, what do you do when 5,000
Did y'all run out of cigarettes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, almost immediately.
Almost immediately.
Once the war got kicked, like once we were actually doing war, we might have had cigarettes in the ship store for about a month. And then you had the scalpers. People that understood, like the old time sailors that knew how these things go.
They stocked up.
They go down and buy out the whole, like as soon as the ship store restocks, people go down and buy out the entire supply, and you start paying. I paid $20 for a pack of cigarettes.
Holy shit! $20 for a pack of cigarettes. What kind of cigarettes?
Marlboro Light or Marlboro menthols.
Wow!
I didn't even smoke menthol until I went on the boat, but menthols were the cheapest to buy. And after I came off the boat, I smoked menthols almost exclusively.
$20 a pack.
Yep.
Wow!
Insane. You see people buying cigarettes, like just single cigarettes.
Yeah. Lucy's.
Yeah. For like $5-6.
So how long was y'all out of cigarettes and nicotine for?
Pretty much the whole time we were in the Middle East, we were constantly short on. Now, when we would hit port, you could buy like the best cigarettes you ever had in your life. Those Middle Eastern cigarettes don't have all the tar and shit. Like they're actual natural cigarettes. Best tasting cigarettes ever. I would stock up on like 3 or 4 cartons of those, and that would last me like maybe a month. I would smoke a pack a day. Easy. Mm-hmm. But now, all right, so put yourself in the sailor's head. You're on a boat.
Oh, well, thank you for following. Y'all like and share the live. This is a great story.
You're on a boat in the middle of the ocean. There is no escape. Now, it's easy for the public, I think, to understand a soldier and what messes with soldier sanity in that you've got bullets flying past you. You hear, like, I know I've got buddies, VFW and stuff like that, that'll tell you about the sound of bullets whizzing past your head. Obviously, that is easy to understand. Okay, that will fuck you up, right? From the sailor perspective, I remember when I first came home, and I'm seeing so many people comment about it now, which is why I'm talking about this and telling the story. People just do not believe that the Navy does anything. Like, they think that, I feel like people think the Navy just has it easy 24/7. And from the first part of the story, that kind of reinforces it. Because that's what I thought. When I went, as a sailor, going out there, I thought, man, we've got it so easy. We're not in a war zone. There's no bullets flying past our head. But what happens is you're on a ship in the middle of a war zone. If a missile hits that motherfucker, it's on you. There's no rescue service. There's nobody coming out to help you. If a fire starts, that's on you. If it starts flooding, that's on you. If that reactor melts down, that's on you. If a bomb, by the way, while I'm sitting there eating, I have the lowest ASVAB score people on the ship wheeling a 500-pound explosive past my ass to take it up an elevator to a flight deck to strap it on a plane and send it taking off of the deck of the ship that I live on.
And y'all, okay, I want to stop there. And how much ammunition and warheads and bombs y'all have? I know you probably can't tell the exact number, but is it a shit ton?
Yeah, so, I can't at all talk about the number of things, but I can say that we have the capacity. We had the capacity.
On the carrier.
On the carrier.
One carrier.
Yeah, because part of my job was designing, you've got your standard stuff that, like, comes pre-done. But these AOs, I was joking about them being the lowest ASVAB score people. I like to give them shit because there's a little bit of rivalry between AOs and literally every other rate in the Navy. The AOs, the aviation ordnance men, you know what their saying is?
What?
If you ain't ordnance, you ain't shit. And they shout that
kind of like Pogue.
Yeah, they print that on their fucking jerseys. They wear it. They yell it. So I like to give them shit every now and then. They're actually, some of them are pretty smart sometimes. But
that's just AI summary. All right, go ahead.
I do like seafood. To answer the one question I did notice a while ago. So these guys have the capacity to build what they need to build. Like there are guys down there that can take parts and assemble what they need. And we have plenty of that. We had plenty of we had plenty of ordnance. We'll just put it that way. We were stocked and ready to go on ordnance because they stay ready to go on that more so than food or anything else apparently. But anyway, put yourself on a boat, no escape. The background realization that like you're alone, and I can't. To anyone that's never sat on the open ocean in the middle of it and realized how fucking small you are as a person when you see the vastness of everything around you. I can't describe that, but that's automatically in your head. That has inspired myths and songs and stories since humanity started sailing. That's how impactful and powerful that. Like most of our mythical monsters and here be dragons on maps come from people that were dealing with that just by itself. Add into that seeing just 2 weeks at a time chipped away from your life, your food progressively getting worse, your crutches like nicotine just going out the window, your vacation time, your 3 days off of your 12 hours a day, 7 day a week job stops happening. Your family, in my case, my son had an allergic reaction to peanut butter pie and was in the hospital. And the only way I had to communicate and get any updates on him was through Microsoft Outlook and from the other side of the world. So like literally 24 hours removed. When it's midnight for me, it's lunch here kind of thing. And the sanity level, like this is what I want to talk about. This is what I am sure, even if I don't know, just knowing that they've been out there for 9 months, knowing that they have not been hitting port, and intuiting that they probably are running out of food. The reports are saying they're running out of food. We were running out of food, and we had a much easier situation than they did. So they're probably running out of food. Our AC went out at one point. You're in the middle of the Arabian Gulf.
Hot as fuck.
In your room. Like we literally, what we had to do was take trash bags and cover our mattresses in our rack in trash bags and sleep on the trash bag so that all the water from our bodies would run off of the mattress down into the metal and just soak our uniforms down below because we could wash those easier than the mattress. You can't sleep anywhere else because there's nowhere else to sleep. Like every place is occupied on a carrier. There's no like fun zone, right?
Yeah.
Like Jittery Abe's up there serving coffee, shut down at a certain point.
Oh, it's that damn fucking... Yes, we're live. We're here. Okay, go ahead.
So, the Starbucks is shut down.
Yeah.
The cigarettes are out. The ship store is out of everything. The replenishments are not coming. The galley's running out of food. What food they do have is basically fucking rats that are deep fried. You can't talk to your family anymore because there's this thing called River City, which is like if something... So we had a trader on my deployment. And I won't go into too much detail because I don't know how much they made public, but we had treason happen while we were on deployment. A sailor was selling information to a foreign government and got caught, and we shut down all communications. So, like, literally nobody's talking outside of the ships. My son was in the hospital in, like, River City. I don't know what the fuck's happening. This is just me, and this poor, pitiful me. There were guys that had it so much fucking worse. I had one sailor in my shop that got an email video from his wife of her screwing a dude on their bed with all the money she cleaned out of his savings account. And what can he fucking do? He can't leave. It's not like he can fly home. He just has to sit there and work his 12 hours a day, 7 days a week job like nothing's happened. But he goes crazy. I mean, that dude lost his mind. Rightfully so. Because he was a fitness nut, like in the gym 2-3 times a day. One of the most in shape people we had in our shop. Went from that to like a pure fucking alcoholic. And of course, like every time we went to port, he was just pouring liquor, sneaking it onto the ship, all sorts of stuff. So like, yeah, it's easy to go crazy, especially as it starts dragging out like that. And you're not eating right. You stop being able to sleep right. Everybody in your office is violent and angry. Nobody can do shit about anything. And then your leadership starts coming, because your leadership, even though they're officers and they're up there and they've got a much better life in general, they're sleeping in rooms with like 3-4 other guys. When our AC shut off, my sleeping area turned into hell. Everything smelled like ass all the time. Our water at a certain point started going haywire, and like it would either be so frigidly cold that it would like shrivel you up if you got under it, or it would be so burning hot that it would scald you. And that was the only two options. There was no in between. So I remember for like a month, I was just standing there like splashing water like this to take a bath.
Oh yeah, thanks for sharing the live, big dog. I thought that was a comment, but go ahead.
We would have to stand there and like splash water on ourselves to take a shower. And I'm doing this in ankle deep shit water because every Thursday, like a clock, our toilets would just backfill and explode. Like just water everywhere. And you're on the ship, so I've got these little, the floors raised up between the door jambs and stuff. It's about that tall in the head, which is the bathroom. And it would just fill up to be about that deep of fucking sewage water that you have to walk through to get to the scalding hot shower where you splash it and take a bird bath. And then you get back up to your shop where a dude that's been addicted to cigarettes his entire life and hasn't had one in a week decides that you're a piece of shit because you didn't do your job right, but you know goddamn well it was him that's a piece of shit and he didn't do his. And I'm telling you, man, it gets violent real fast.
A lot of fights.
A lot.
You experience a lot of fights? Any murders?
No, I don't.
Or what about SA?
Sexual assault?
Well, I don't know if you can say that on here. That's why I said SA.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. Maybe if we got canceled, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's extremely prevalent. I mean, just all the time. You don't have to be on a ship for that to be prevalent. And that's dudes and girls. People get that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens. We had what was called fan room counseling, which is there are these rooms that all the fans, the exhaust fans and stuff, blow, and they're super loud. You can't hear shit. They've got lockable doors on them, and if you and maybe a superior are getting into it, and there's no normal way to settle it, you'll do what's called a fan room counseling, which is you and your superior will go down to that room, lock that door, and then whatever happens, and you don't talk about it when you come out.
Yeah.
A lot of that starts happening. In the intelligence community, I feel like we had a lot more, I would say the people that went crazy internally much more than they did externally, because a lot of us are not fighters. We're nerds. We're geeks. We're just kind of in there like plotting a murder instead of like carrying it out.
Mm.
But yeah, you kind of lose your mind just a little bit, and then it goes even worse.
What was the tipping point on your deployment? And then after this, let's go ahead and start with the Abraham Lincoln of today.
Right. So I think the biggest tipping point was probably the next to last extension, because like I said, we went from 4 months to 9 months. I think that's like 4 or 5 2-week extensions that happened. And I want to say it was the 4th extension. We all knew it was coming. Like everybody there had already, the first one was like, okay, that's fine. The second one stung. The third one stung a lot. And people started talking crazy. Like, what are we doing? Am I going to jump overboard? Like,
y'all are getting extended 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by the 4th one, I knew it had kind of tipped a balance because no one talked. No one said anything. That announcement came, and it was just dead fucking silent all across the ship. It was silent in my shop when they announced it, and then I walked down to the smoke deck where, again, you've got like 600-700 people just in a like this close smoking cigarettes. Not a word. Silent.
Everybody's silent.
Nobody's saying nothing. Have you ever, imagine being in a bar and it going from full normal bar to something happens and not a word is being said.
Pin drop.
That feeling, that evolutionary survival feeling you get of like, I am in fucking danger, kicked in at that moment. And then probably like a day or two later, it kind of goes back to normal. Everybody's talking, but everybody started talking about what we were going to do. Like, this has to end. We all knew this has to stop. We can't deal anymore. We have to either get food, get cigarettes, or get the fuck off this boat. One of those 3 things is gonna have to happen. Like you had people getting robbed. So you had sailors.
People was robbing people?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got stolen from several times. I never got robbed, but like people broke my lock on my rack and took my iPod and my headphones and all that shit out. And we have like an intranet store where you can sell stuff. It's like a Facebook marketplace, but just for on the ship. And my iPod came up on there, and I went to the cops on the boat like, "Hey, that's my iPod. I can tell you every song on it." And they're like, "Well, we can't do shit about it."
Oh my!
It turned out some of the cops were the ones like stealing and selling shit.
Well, that's not surprising.
So you start getting the thieves come out first, but then you start getting like the people that were hoarding cigarettes started getting robbed. Like just straight up, they would go to their berthing and somebody would lock that hatch down and be like, "Give me the fucking cigarettes." And if you don't, we're gonna do a fan room counseling real quick. And we're going to take your cigarettes anyway. So you start getting stuff like that. It starts turning into an actual prison. Like you start feeling that like you got to watch what everybody's doing, watch how they're moving, listen to how they're talking, because they might be fucking
And
insane.
all the focus is on the shipmates and not the war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, 12 hours a day, I'm sitting up there aiming bombs. But every time I leave my shop, it's like always looking over my shoulder, always looking over my back. I didn't start many problems with anybody because, again, I kind of had that philosophy of, like, I've got it pretty good in comparison, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut and lay low and try not to get noticed. But, yeah, there was some people in my shop got in fights. I held a dude up against a wall by his throat and threatened his life. Like, that wasn't normal. You know me. I'm not a violent guy. I don't know how to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't threaten people unless they're threatening my family. But with this dude, like, it was something small, too. It wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, right now, if it happened, it wouldn't even faze me. But in that environment, it was like, I'll kill you. Like, I'm ready. Let's go. Because the thought behind it is, like, if I died, right? I remember my supervisor. We were standing on the smoke deck, and my supervisor said to me, "You ever think this is just, like, a game?" I was like, "What do you mean? Like a simulation?" He goes, No. Like, what if there's not even a war? What if they just sailed this boat around a tiny little island in circles as a social experiment to see how long we can take it before we break?
He's gone.
And this is a dude I respect. He was always much more rational than I've ever been. A calm, normal dude that's just like convincing himself that this isn't even real and that they're just waiting to see what we do about it. And the next step from that, like I feel like if it got worse than that, is when you start seeing sailors jumping off the boat, when you start seeing actual murders. Because I've got some friends that did have attempted murders on their ships in similar situations where it got that bad. They ran out of food, they stopped hitting ports, ran out of supplies, and then all of a sudden people start stabbing each other and stuff. Luckily, on the Lincoln, as far as I'm aware, we didn't have anybody actually try to kill anybody. But we were close. I mean, it was probably one or two more extensions away from that. And now, as far as the Lincoln today goes, again, I'm not on it. We will hear stories from people that were on it. I have no doubt. But what I want to say to people watching...
What is going on? Okay, what's going on with the USS Abraham Lincoln today? What did you send me today?
They have currently been on deployment for 9 months. About the same time frame I was out. The reports from Stars and Stripes, Navy Times, family members and friends and stuff like that, and propaganda from Iran. Let's be clear on that. There is some of this that's just propaganda. The reports are that they are not being supplied adequately. And even if they are being supplied adequately, the frequency of those adequate supplies may be too slow for them to actually last long enough. So when you're talking about the logistics of this, think about 5,000 sailors that you have to feed. The way that the Navy does it is you get breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then what we call mid-rats, which is where they take all the leftovers from the first three and serve them at midnight for all the night ship sailors. So my lunch every day was just the remnants of everything. My supper was breakfast, and my breakfast was supper. Those mid-rats are probably inedible. Like, they were for me. Near the end of that whole cycle, mid-rats got to the point where you might as well not even fucking bother. Because it's leftovers from food that was already inedible. Like, take a fried rat and leave it out for 12 hours and then serve it again. That's what I would eat at lunch. So I just didn't eat. So right now, they've been on deployment 9 months. They haven't been in port, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. They haven't been in a port, a.k.a. had a day off from their 12-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job in over 200 days. Again, the reports, not verified, and I don't know, but the reports from Navy Times, Stars and Stripes, and some propaganda are that sailors have begun jumping overboard, killing each other. I am 100% certain they're robbing each other, stealing from each other. They are. I have no doubt that the sailors on the USS Abraham Lincoln are fully in survival mode right now. The war, whatever. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know what's happening in the war. There's propaganda from both sides. We're winning. We're losing. Who knows? I don't know.
Who knows the truth?
Who knows? No, but I mean,
but didn't you told me that they're getting emails from the ship?
Yeah, one sailor reportedly emailed his wife. I don't know his wife. I haven't seen the email firsthand. I'm going off of what I read on Stars and Stripes, Navy Times. One sailor reportedly emailed his wife and said, I don't know if I can handle this anymore. Like, I definitely cannot handle going on another deployment. I definitely am done with the Navy. Like, as soon as I'm out of here, I'm out. But I don't know if I can even finish this deployment. He's one of the ones that jumped overboard, according to reports.
So he is gone.
No, he survived. We run man overboard drills every week.
But he did jump off.
He jumped off. They got him back. No one told his family for like 4 days after he jumped off. But I reckon they got him out of the water and put him on I think he's on a mental health hold right now for attempted suicide. Or AS. Damn, I'm gonna get you shut off. But that's the situation as it's being reported. Whether that's true or not, we won't know until those sailors come home and start telling their story. But the reason I wanted to tell this story, whether y'all believe me or not, is that when I first came home and I tried to tell people, because my whole family's been in the military. My uncle was in the Army, my dad, my papa, everybody was in the Army. I was the first sailor in our family. And when I came home, the natural response I got to me having problems or having memories of this, because this did mess with me. Like, it's in no way the same as being boots on the ground, having a bullet going past your head. And I'm not trying to say that it is. But it's also an experience that you don't easily get past. I would compare it more to someone that's been in prison. That readjustment to society is difficult. And there were other things that made me have to deal with PTSD as well that weren't what we're talking about. But this did not help that at all. And when I would say this, like, oh yeah, it's hard. People go, oh, you're in the fucking Navy. What are you talking about? And I see people commenting right now already on these posts, calling these sailors pussies, telling them that, oh, you just can't hack it. You're not even really in the military. You blah, 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 blah. I would challenge any person that thinks that to go live on this carrier. Sign up, join the Navy, volunteer for sea duty, and go be a ship's company on the USS Abraham Lincoln on a 9-month deployment in a war that seems to have no end, with no knowledge of when you're coming home, full knowledge. So think about this. In the Army, you rely on your brothers. This is just military in general, being a cop, firefighter. It's not that uncommon for people to be able to understand relying on your brothers and sisters, like putting your life in someone else's hands. That gets amped up by 1,000 on a ship. Because let's say that aviation ordnance man goes crazy. He has the capacity every day, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, to blow us all up. Just with one individual decision can kill us all. Let's say the guy down in the engine room loses his mind. He has the capacity to overload a nuclear reactor that sits under us while we sleep. Let's say a pilot goes crazy. He has the capacity to fly that plane into that. You aren't just putting your lives in other people's hands. That ship becomes its own organism. And it has an expiration date. That organism has an expiration date, and it is the mental health of the crew. That sets the expiration date. And it's not most of the crew. It can be one dude. It can be one dude. But
one out of 5,000.
But it's never going to be just 1 out of 5,000. Because if you hit that point and this stuff starts to happen, there's already multiple people trying to off themselves. how long until someone decides they don't want to do this no more? And they don't care if they stop doing it because they're dead, or they stop doing it because they get flown off, or they stop doing it because they get arrested and court-martialed and sent to Leavenworth. The stakes change real quick. That balance in that organism is a delicate thing. And when they come out, when they get done with this, when they come home, I know what it's like. When I got on the ship and we sailed, while I was gone, Gangnam Style became a thing. Everything in that era happened. When I got on the boat, none of that existed. When I came back, all of that was just everywhere, right? I had no concept of that while I was gone. I had no time to be part of culture while that happened. They're going to come off this boat. Let's say they get sent home tomorrow and be looking at a generation of people treating them the same way the Vietnam veterans got treated, which is, oh, you're a piece of shit. You're a pussy. You gave up. You chickened out. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. They're doing the best they can. I promise you right now, regardless of how right the reports are about the 10-8, we're going to call it AS, or a SA or anything like that, regardless of any of those reports, I promise you, every sailor on that boat right now is doing the best they can just to survive, just to hold on to their sanity, keep that ship floating and doing its task, and praying and hoping that they get home as soon as they can. What I would hate for them to experience, I didn't have to experience this en masse. I got it from my family and friends that don't quite understand or believe me. But I'm afraid for these sailors once they're off the boat, even with the cultural response to this, assuming that every problem and any negative thing that happens in this war must be propaganda from Iran, is irresponsible, because it's war. Terrible things happen in war on both sides. No side is a hero in a war. You might have individual heroes that do great things, but as far as your overall side goes, man, I promise nobody's feeling too heroic right now on the Lincoln. I promise that. They're all just trying to get back.
Has there been any deaths?
Reportedly, yeah.
How many?
The last I saw, there were 7. Some rumors of like 11 to 13.
But there has been some. What happened to them?
A couple were reportedly jumped overboard. A couple were killed, reportedly. I don't have any details on how or why.
But you're getting all this from the Navy News and
Stars and Stripes, the Navy Times, and then just some of it is rumor, some of it's probably propaganda. I don't know how factual any of it is, but I don't doubt. What I'm trying to get across is I don't doubt.
There's a lot of like hardcore MAGA people that's believing that this is just. And I think they're spreading propaganda too, not only with Iran. I think both of those sides are spreading extreme propaganda
100%.
on this story. What I've just seen in comments.
If you think that we've won a war that requires the USS Abraham Lincoln to still be in that area doing operations, looking at it from a leadership, put yourself in the shoes of the leadership. Do you want the USS Abraham Lincoln out there right now? It's in the headlines. It's stirring up controversy. You've got reports of sailors being killed and trying to jump off the boat and everything else. Do you, as a leader, as a politician even, don't you just relieve that ship if you can? Don't you just send somebody else out there and say, hey, bring these sailors home, obviously, even if they're fine, even if all the sailors are fucking doing jigs on the boat, it's all happy and fun times and they're on vacation. If that starts to happen as a politician, if you could, would you not pull that boat back and send a new boat in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That'd be the most sensible thing to do.
And when we were out there, with our reactor shutting down, our AC shutting off, our sailors going crazy in 2011, had they been able to, they would have relieved us. They couldn't. Why? Because this was never in the plan. The ship that was supposed to relieve us had to turn back and go into dry dock. It had a problem. They couldn't do anything about that problem except pull that ship into dry dock and fix it. And we had to stay out there until that ship was ready to come. That's why we got stuck out there for 9 months. We weren't supposed to ever be there. We got stuck there for 9 months because the thing with the military, whether your sailors go crazy, whether your normal leaders would, yes. Well, any leader, I think. I think even MAGA. I'm not trying to be political here. I don't think that MAGA hates the military. I don't think MAGA wants them going crazy. I think that your average MAGA supporter even loves veterans, loves active duty soldiers and sailors, and wants to take care of them. I think what's happening is because of the propaganda on both sides. You've got liberals and leftists buying into propaganda from Iran, saying that, oh, we're so weak, nothing bad is happening to Iran, we're just wasting our munitions. You've got propaganda from MAGA saying, oh, we're so strong, we've won this war 32 fucking times.
But then there's the truth.
There's the truth. The truth is sailors, soldiers, airmen, and Marines are normal, everyday people. What makes it a sacrifice, what makes us respecting veterans, I'm not saying this for myself, I'm saying this for all.
Wait, what did he say? Neither do I, but the priorities are elsewhere, not with the Lincoln.
Okay, yeah. So, that's kind of where I'm going. What makes it a sacrifice for our veterans? The reason that we respect veterans and we support the troops is that it's just normal, everyday people that go out here and do this, right? They're making the sacrifice. They're sacrificing their mental health. They're sacrificing their bodies, their lives, if need be. And you're right. It's 100% about the mission. And it should be. When we were doing our operations and stuff, yeah, our personal lives and the way that things went made us focus internally to survive. And that's what's going to have to happen. You did the same thing, I'm sure, in the Army, in the Marine Corps, in a foxhole, whatever. But overall, the picture is the mission. The question I have for the public is, how do you support the troops and not believe them? How do we support, what can we do? The USO, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, a lot of veterans organizations are rallying behind send care packages. And I super encourage everybody to do that. I'm going to do that. These care packages, if they get there, when they get there, are going to be lifesavers. But at the same time, that care package may or may not get there. I can't tell you how many helicopters, pallets, things like that I saw get dropped into the ocean. Some of my own stuff that came in care packages just gets dropped in the ocean. You don't have time nor priority to turn around and grab that stuff. Life is going to suck. It's a deployment. I get that. But our leadership, our military, everybody needs to take a long look at what's happening. If it is about the mission, if the priority is about the mission, at this point, is the Lincoln crew capable of carrying out that mission without being resupplied, without hitting a port, without taking a break? I don't think so. And I think if the priority is the mission, as it should be, the USS Abraham Lincoln, either, if it can't physically leave, they need to start rotating people off. They need to start having flights off that carrier with crew members, starting with the most mentally unstable crew members, fly them home, put them in counseling, let them get used to it. And if they can leave the Lincoln and replace it with another ship, they need to replace the whole ship. Because I guarantee you that hull...
I agree, and I appreciate all military, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, rock on.
Same. So one of the things that's happening, and one of the reasons I say the Lincoln itself, the ship, needs to just be replaced, is because just like in ours, and this happens over time. This is the nature of a machine.
Well, civilians don't understand what you just explained, this whole lie that you've just went through. They don't understand. If they've never been on a ship, they don't understand the perspective that these sailors have right now. They're not in. They don't know that.
Yeah.
They think it's just all hunky dory village people type shit.
Yeah.
Like we're all hey, just doing the leather biker shit and everybody's singing and dancing. No, it ain't like that.
One of the things that happens and happened to us, and there have been reports of this happening on the Lincoln as well, it adds to the mental instability, is like I was talking about with the toilets. I've seen some pictures. I don't know how valid they are. I can't validate them. I know it looks exactly like what it looked like when I was out there. Over time, you've got 5,000 people taking a dump multiple times a day.
Where does that go? Does that go in the ocean?
There's a bilge system. They do sometimes release it into the ocean, I think. I don't know. I never worked on the hull and stuff. But ultimately, there is a plumbing system all through the ship. And you've got disgruntled, angry people who are not eating well.
Stop up shit.
Some people stop it up on purpose.
Yeah, flood it.
The hull technicians are getting tired. They're working down in the bowels of the ship.
And they have to put up with all that shit, literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
And that starts to break down over time. The longer you go, the more it breaks down.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. That's just the.
So the pictures and reports coming out are that the showers are breaking down, the toilets are backing up. They're walking through that ankle deep water right now. They are emailing their spouses and significant others. Hey, and by the way, these reports that are coming through the emails are the ones that are allowed to go. When you first get on the ship and you start interacting with the computer, some people know, some people don't. I was being in intelligence, I was very well aware. You have communication specialists that read your emails.
Oh, like prison, just like prison.
Ingoing and outgoing. Yeah. If you get a picture of your wife's stuff,
they see it.
They can look at it. They see it, and your spouses have to. Like a lot of Navy spouses. If we got any sailors or Navy spouses in here, speak up. Let us know your experience. But a lot of conversations that you have to have with your spouse as you go on a deployment is like, hey, please send me these because I'm stuck on this boat for months at a time and I need something. Please send me these because I'm stuck on this boat for months at a time and I need something. But also
20% battery, so
can and will be seen. So the communications that are going in and coming out are 100% being monitored and tweaked probably, or just banned in some cases. So and that has to happen. The military has to control the flow of information. River City is a necessity. Loose lips sink ships. You don't want sailors getting on and talking about how bad it really is, because even if Iran doesn't get that, even if that's 100% true and it gets released, of course it benefits Iran for us all to talk about how terrible things are. I'm not trying to benefit Iran by having this conversation. What I am trying to do is reach out to some civilians that are watching this and say, when these guys come home, please support them specifically. When they tell you the story of what happened, don't call them weak, because I promise you, if you went through it, it would either break you or it would do the same thing to you that it's doing to them, which is breaking them in some cases. I saw people that, one of the guys that worked in my shop, totally normal dude, afterwards ended up in a standoff with the FBI, like a full-on standoff shootout with I saw him lose his mind.
Is he gone?
No, he's here. He survived it. He went through, I think I think somebody helped him in court and he ended up having to go to a mental hospital for a while, but I saw him losing his mind. Like, he was normal dude. Something happened back at home. I don't know exactly what. We weren't super tight, but I'll never forget the day I walked into the shop and he's like looking up explosive devices, like just Googling explosive devices on his work computer in the Intel shop. And I'm like, are you researching for a brief? Like, what's going on? He goes, no, this bitch is going to get it. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, neato. But again, it's like that guy said earlier, the priority is the mission. The mission comes first, and it should. The saying when you're in boot camp, they plaster it everywhere. Ship, shipmate, self. That's your order of priorities when you're on a ship. If the ship catches fire, that comes first. If there's a flood, and there's stories of heroes that have done this in the Navy, a compartment's flooding, and the only way to get it cut off is to seal yourself in a room and kill yourself and your buddy. You do that. Like that's you have to save the ship first, because everyone is on the ship. And like I said earlier, if the ship goes down, everyone dies. So the ship comes first. Next comes shipmate. If you have to make a decision between saving yourself and saving your shipmate, you save your shipmate first. And the last priority is yourself. You take care of yourself. You try to be safe. You try and do what you need to do for yourself, but you're the last priority. And they are too. Rightfully so. But we don't have to make it hard on them when they come home. And we don't have to make it hard on them right now. Their spouses right now need to see comments that are saying, I don't know if this is happening. Like, I'm not telling you have to believe it. I'm not telling you have to be against the administration doing whatever they're doing and out here protesting and fighting to make a change. I'm just saying, when you're interacting with these comment sections, when you're talking about this, keep in mind that the spouses, the children of these sailors that are making this sacrifice are watching. They're hearing what you're saying. And if you're saying that this is all bullshit and you don't believe any of it, what they're hearing is their spouse that they're reading an email from saying they're going to jump off the ship does not matter. And that should never be the case. Those sailors matter. Those officers matter.
But they've been out at sea for 9 months.
9 months.
That is confirmed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can look that up anywhere.
Yeah.
And reportedly over 200 days without a port, which is insane.
Over 200 days. What was the longest that you had to go?
About 70. And
70.
we were losing our ship.
Terrible.
We were losing our ship.
So they really have 200 days without a port.
That's the report, yeah.
And they can't. They're at a blockade, right, at the Strait of Hormuz. Where are they at?
As far as I understand, that's what we're still doing. Again, I'm not watching every day because this does still bother me. When it's taking a lot out of me to have this conversation because it gives me. Luckily haven't had any flashbacks or anything like that. But I'll probably dream about this tonight. Like it's something I survived, right? And it's something they're surviving right now. So. I don't know. Sorry, I kind of got in a loop in my head there. What were we?
I was talking about they haven't left the blockade.
Yeah. So as far as I know, if someone's watching and y'all know what the Navy's actual current mission is, let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure their current mission is just maintaining that blockade.
But in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
And so they can't get no relief, no resupplies.
I don't know. You would have to ask the leadership of the Navy, why in the world is there not currently a carrier headed out there to relieve them? I know when it happened to me.
How many carriers do the Navy have?
I don't want to give numbers on anything, but
roughly.
We have...
Is it over 100?
No. It's double digits.
Oh, it's double digits.
Yeah. It's much less than 100. It's double digits.
Yeah, but we still have the most carriers in the world. Or China, by far.
No, yeah, we have way more than anybody else. There's no, and when I say double digits, I'm also including LHDs, which are I call them Marine Corps carriers. They're amphibious landing, but also have a flight deck.
But they're not near as big.
They're about the same. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but they carry mostly Marines. They can do amphibious landings. They also have a flight deck.
Oh.
There is no reason in my mind, other than just poor logistics management, that we can't get another carrier with a fresh load of sailors sent out there to relieve this crew. It's been 9 months.
Yeah.
I understand it kind of happened quickly. I understand that there's a mission and we've got to do it. Whether I agree with the mission or not, doesn't matter. We got to get the mission done. That's what the military does. But
I think to close on this, I want to know, what is your prediction with this war in Iran, and what else do you think might come of this?
It's hard to predict the war in Iran because, is it really technically a war? If it is, then it's illegal, but it's not technically, right? Like they've been very careful to say it's an engagement. It's just it's an action. It's a military action. The civilian population calls it a war for all intents and purposes. It's, in my mind, it's not even really, like, again, this is not a political stance, but in my mind, we have no boots on the ground officially. Most of Iran's...
A conflict.
Yeah. Most of Iran's actions have been missile launches that have hit foreign countries. Our bases, have been hit, but they're launching, mostly attacking other countries. Our ships are involved. It's a naval action for sure, obviously. But unlike, like in Operation Enduring Freedom, we had boots on the ground. We were flying jets from a ship to support those boots on the ground. And there were clear goals and achievements being made, and we knew where the end was. Mm-hmm. Not so much for this. Like, what is our goal? It would be a lot easier to predict if I knew what the goal actually was. They say, oh, we got to reduce their nuclear capabilities, but the president has said multiple times, we already have.
Yeah.
They say we're going to shut down their military, but the president has said multiple times, we already have. So what's the goal? Like, where's the end? I don't know. What is their mission other than the blockade? The sailors have a mission of running that blockade. They know, but zooming out, trying to predict anything, I don't know. What will come out of it, regardless of what our mission is, I think is a depleted arsenal, which
we already have, the Patriots and the Tomahawks.
According to the reports, we've already depleted it. We may have more, we may not. I don't know. But regardless, just the number we've already dropped, we are depleting our arsenal. If we win whatever winning is, okay, great. What's that do? Like, what do we get? We get oil. We get a bunch of money, maybe, from oil. Like, let's say we completely take over and we own them and we own the Strait of Hormuz and we get to control all of it.
Oh, that's just still the AI summary. All right,
If
go
we
ahead.
control all of it, sure, great. We have a ton of money and we control the Strait of Hormuz. That's a huge strategic thing. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
What next? Do you think Russia or China is just going to let that pass? You think, or in any world, do you think any of our enemies are going to allow us to actually win this in totality without fighting all of them? And can we fight all of them if we are already degrading our best asset, which is our people, to the point of trying to jump off the boat?
Yeah.
And then degrading our second best asset, which is our munitions, to the point that there are rumors we don't have anymore? Like, what is, strategically speaking, what's the end goal? And what does this get us if we reach that end goal?
Okay.
I don't know either of those two things, but my prediction is it's not going to be a net positive for anybody. Maybe we win, maybe we have control of it, in which case there is maybe a net positive there for us.
Okay.
But I doubt it.
All right. So last thing is Ukraine and Russia. How is that going, and what's been going on with that, and who's winning that war?
I don't know. I've tuned out. I used to care a lot more than I do. I'll be honest. I used to be much more on Ukraine's side. I don't know. I'm as much as anyone else now. I haven't been involved in anything in 10 years. So I'm as much a victim of propaganda as anybody else. And I can't separate. It's got to the point where I can't separate propaganda from reality when it comes to Ukraine, because on principle, I'm for Ukraine, right? I don't like Russia. I spent 3 years of my career teaching about how terrible a conflict with Russia could be. Ukraine surprised me a lot. I figured they would have folded within a year. They're still going. Last time I checked in on it, they were attacking Moscow.
There's over 1 million killed.
Yeah.
in this
There are
war.
a ton of deaths on both sides. I don't blame Ukraine. Anyone that Ukraine kills in Ukraine, I don't blame them for.
Yeah.
Because that's war. But now that they're starting to attack into Russia, it
They're
becomes,
attacking Moscow, ain't they?
last I heard. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
What's propaganda? What's real? I don't know. But yeah, I've also seen the videos of Ukraine rounding people up, like jumping in cars, kicking them out of their own car, enlisting them in the military.
Oh, like what Russia's doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
so they're the same now.
That's where it gets
They're the
real
same.
gray. It's
Okay.
like, I can't. America's had a draft before that did not go well. It never. You are never going to have a good war when you start pulling people
No.
against their will, because like I was talking about
Look
earlier,
at Vietnam.
these sacrifices that these sailors are currently making are made voluntarily. They signed up for it. They knew what could happen. They're doing this out of patriotism and love for their country, the same way I did. But if you start forcing people to do that, it's not going to go well. And I feel like Ukraine has to do that, probably. I mean, you're a small country fighting a very big one. You have to get troops.
You have to force people into the military. And when you force somebody to fight, they're not going to have the same willpower
Yep.
and the same motivation that you would just willingly, voluntarily join.
And by the way, this contradiction that we're talking about, to get a little philosophical here, the contradiction we were talking about earlier with we have to support these sailors, but at the same time they have to focus on their mission. What we're talking about with Ukraine, like, yeah, they need to defend themselves, but forcing people to join is not great. This is what war does. This is what I was saying. There's no good guy on either side. There might be individual good guys, but no side is ever the good guy in war. Nobody gets through morally unscathed, because this is what war is. It's a series of bad choices that you have to make. It's a series of harms that you have to commit.
Yep.
That's just the nature of war. Whether you're the U.S. or Iran or Ukraine or Russia or a tribal dude 4,000 years ago just trying to get some meat, that's what you have to do. Do you want to go massacre this village? Absolutely not. But you gotta, and if you're going to achieve this goal.
It's primal.
Yeah.
Very primal. But I think that was great. I would like to keep doing this, Roy. And we can dive deeper into the Navy and military and law enforcement and politics and spirituality and all kinds of good stuff, and comedy. We can wrap all this shit into comedy. That's why we got into comedy. One of the reasons why I got into comedy is I know people's going to pay attention and listen to you if you can make it entertaining.
Yeah.
And anyways, thank y'all all for joining and liking the live. I know that people came in and tuned out and fucking came back in and commented, and I appreciate y'all, and we'll do this more often.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.